$812,964. So what does the total budget look like? The general government budget is in FY04 is $10,132,291. The current budget for the current fiscal year is $10,275,176, a reduction of $142,885. The school department budget for FY04 for next year is $16,248,330. The school department budget for the current fiscal year is $16,293,330, an increase of a mere $45,000. Clearly, we're not funding the departments and the programs and the services the way we need to or would like to. Let's just look at the changes, percent increase, decrease comparison year over year, 02 to 03 and 03 to 04. You can see what's driving this budget. It's employee benefit costs, and that covers all of the employees in the community. And that number continues to increase. The debt service for next year goes up as well, and that was a big driver in the budget as well. I think next year is a peak year. It starts to go down again the year after. For the Board of Selectmen's budget, we did not eliminate any positions. We did, however, reduce overtime coverage. We reduced vacation coverage. We virtually eliminated the use of any outside consultants. We reduced legal expenses. Darren, did you go home yet?
Go ahead.
We reduced education and training, something we struggled with in reducing. For services and expenses, we made reductions in preventative maintenance on roads and repair of roads, cleaning of catch basins, maintenance of public works vehicles. There's no small capital in the general government budget. We reduced all expenses throughout all budgets. As you saw in the last article, there's no capital included in the warrant, and we didn't spend anything on additional technology funding, which when we look at the DOR report, the word technology is smattered throughout that report because that's one of the areas that we're going to have to address to go forward as a community. I think this is just a short list of some of the things that were cut, but we struggled with each and every department, and they worked very closely with their liaisons and with the town administrator. I'm very appreciative of all the work of the board and the department heads and the town administrator. It was a difficult budget process to go through. We did the best that we could. And again, when we brought it all together with the school committee, much to our surprise, it all fit together very nicely. I commend the school committee for the work that they did. Clearly, nobody is getting the level of funding that they need, want, or deserve. And as a community, we clearly need to address that as we move forward. I think that collectively we felt it was not the right time to go forward with a request for additional funding. This budget is within our ability to pay, and we need to address things as we move forward into the future. Thank you.
Mr. Bucket, do you wish to add to Mr. Murphy's presentation?
Yes, I do. I just have a couple of points on the school budget that we'd like to share with you. Plus the 5 minutes. Budget process, the school committee started with a couple of 4 objectives that you see here before you. It was imperative that we maintain the current school programs that are currently in place, which I would remind you were reduced last year, and to maintain the current services. We also recognize the challenging economic conditions, not just in last year, but predicted through till '05. We plan on reduced revenue from the state, even though the legislator has not yet announced that amount. Tonight in our school information, we received a letter from Senator Tarr saying it could be closer to 15 or maybe a 20% reduction in local aid. And so we have put together a budget which is the first phase of a multi-year plan. As we went through the process, the school committee gave direction to the superintendent to prepare 4 budgets. A level services budget would have cost us an additional $700,000 over and above this year's current spending level. We also did look at a budget to restore the cuts from last year's failed override, as well as a growth budget, which we should all be looking at to maintain and address the increased enrollments. And what we ended up with was a level funded budget. In other words, we're only going to spend next year what we spent this year, even though our fixed costs have gone up $700,000. These scenarios are put together by the superintendent and the principals, and we reviewed it and we modify it, we add our 2 cents, and we hold public input sessions. We opened up our agendas at each one of our meetings for input, and we held more than the traditional one public meeting this year because we realized that the cuts we were going to be painful, and that the growth we were not addressing was really not appropriate. The strategy we ended up adopting causes a couple of challenges for next year. We do receive grants through the school department budget, and those grants are used to supplement what the public funding offers to students. It brings in extra programs and extra things over and above this budget. Well, next year, all of our grant money has gone right into the operating budget, and it will actually supplant the funding, and it will not bring extra added services to the students. We currently have in place a facility user fee so that youth programs and other people using the gyms pay for the custodian. There was a slight profit in that budget, and we are using it to offset expenses in our budget. And we also have a special education account called the SEAM account. We usually leave that money untouched for unforeseen instances. It's our contingency in special education. We've depleted that so that if we had, say, a student move into town that would need the services of SEAM, we are open. We have no way to meet those needs. That's the level that we went to just to come up with level funding. The strategy was to maintain reasonable class sizes at all levels, although we won't agree on how you define maintain. Next year at the middle school and the high school in particular, the class sizes will exceed 28 students in a class. Our high school health program was reduced. There's no 9th grade health program. It will not be restored. Elementary students receive gym once a week. That will not be added to. We are lacking in technology support with decreased secretarial support. For instance, in our guidance counselor's office, the secretary helps seniors get their packages ready for college applications. 50% of her time will be reduced. And our custodial support, even though we've added additional space to the system, we will reduce 1 full-time custodian. The school committee will not go any further in cutting any of the school budget. Even if the governor comes out with further reductions this summer, we will not cut the school budget any further. We cannot. At that point, we would ask the town to consider the use of reserve funds. We must maintain the quality of education that we have achieved over the years. We have a high number of North Reading graduates that go on to colleges of their choice. We have increased the school year and the day beyond the minimum requirement. Our students achieve with the best of the schools, the best of the public schools in Massachusetts. We have mandated time for learning that we have to meet. We have mandated staff training, which in this town has produced excellent quality in teaching. We need to continue a safe and supportive educational environment. Our schools, our children must be safe when they're here. We need to provide individual attention for all students, those with special needs, as well as those that are just having a hard day and need teachers' time. We need updated, uniform curriculum throughout the district, and we need to maintain our staff. We have great teachers. We don't want them to leave North Reading. Throughout our budget process, we cut in our expense category because that least affects students. We were able to cut money in our legal costs because we have finished our contracts, and we have been able to cut other areas which will begin to impact the quality of education. We have also instituted new user fees. Where we legally can, we will raise money. We've increased transportation, we've increased athletic fees. We're putting in a new fee for any kid that wants to join any club or any group. It'll be a $100 fee. And we're looking to put in an all-day kindergarten program and raise some monies there. That will be restricted to space. So we're hoping that we can, this 30,000 represents one program in one elementary school. We're hoping that we can increase that and raise some more monies. The saddest part of all the reductions is when we start hitting our staff, because like I said, we needed to increase our staff to meet the increase in enrollment, but instead we're going backwards. We're going to reduce curriculum coordination. The plan is not in place yet, but $50,000 will be reduced in an area which addresses the need to keep your curriculum district-wide and current. We're going to reduce the administrative assistant position, but Mary Frances Sawyer is retiring, and we will be able to bring someone in at a lower rate. We're going to reduce 2 elementary classrooms that will drive up the class sizes. The reduction of the elementary computer room aides is a sad loss. The 3 computer labs in our 3 elementary schools will be closed. They will be open to teachers that want to venture in and take their class and do a special project. There will be no computer instruction in the elementary level. Some general paras will be eliminated, and we sorely need general paras who assist students throughout the day when they need individualized attention. And we'll also reduce a para at the middle school level. And with the increased enrollment in the middle school level, those people are definitely worth their weight in gold. They help manage the students coming and going to the bus and different activities. I mentioned the reduction in custodian. It couldn't come at a worse time when we've got more kids and more space. We are going to revamp a music program so students will pay for instrumental courses. We've got a reduction in the art program. We've got a reduction in foreign languages, in our guidance, secretary, and nursing. Nursing was a goal that was put in place a couple of years ago to have a full-time nurse in each one of our buildings. Not only for injury, but for distribution of medications throughout the day, and we're going to have to go backwards on that. The school committee has gone on record and would like to repeat this, that beginning with May, right? Starting next month, we are going to put a team together, and we're going to start next year's budget. It will most likely be an override budget. It will be one which will increase our staff, restore our programs, address the needs that we've been ignoring. We will have an ongoing review of our efficiencies and try to save money where we can. Our business manager, Carl Nelson, has done an outstanding job in being able to save some monies in some of our utilities. We're going to look at program enhancements. Instead of reducing or maintaining, it's time we start moving forward. We're going to review our staffing needs. We're going to have to look at the student population in North Reading, not just how best to house them. As Leslie Mazzoni was saying, that's only one piece of our problem. We need the teachers, and we need the programs, and we need the attention to the students. We're going to put more of our strategic plan in place, which Jeff Simons is always reminding us is just the backbone of the school system, yet we've never had the money to put that in place. We are going to do it. And we're going to look at our inadequate facilities. We will bring back the permanent building plans, but we will continue to address substandard space through modulars. Oh, and that's it.
Mrs. Walker, I think you're at the limit of your 5 minutes.
Yes, I'm just trying to turn it on.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Mrs. Lewis, thank you very much for your patience. Mrs. Lewis,